Troops, as always, the podcast is brought to you by G4 Claims. G4 Claims. If you want to claim for anything, if you want to claim that Jamie is not your real son, which I'm sure
a lot of women do.
If you want to claim anything, man, the roads are slippy this time of year. So get into the description, follow the links, you can get into G4 for all your claiming needs.
Whiplash, just say that.
Just whiplash.
Going on a sharp tongue.
Just phone them and say, go whiplash, mate. Go whiplash there if you're looking.
Sort us out, Trips.
But today we'll get Chris McQueer in the podcast. So, author of Things, Here We Fucking Go, playwright, novelist, global sex icon. So, hope you enjoy it, Troops. Cheers.
These my dads make it hurt.
I just want to start talking about bowling. Can you just start talking about your bowling experience?
Aye.
Well, no, your experience, because you've not actually been yet.
That's me just booked it there.
Aye.
So
did you book it?
Aye.
What one did you book?
I think we got the keys, so we can go to Nando's after that.
Oh, that's a proper wee date.
It's a good wee date, innit? I was saying that I go on a wee guy date, like bowling, then Nando's, know what I mean?
Mate, see, to be fair, when I'm up at the lanes, man, when I'm looking up the lanes, that I see a lot of you guys, right? I love, do you know what I love, by the way? I don't know, you might love this, I'm just a bit of a weirdo. I love being out, right, with my girlfriend. I've been going out with my girlfriend 5 years now, Chris, right? 5 years.
5 long years.
5 beautiful, long, happy years.
Oh, it's the day, innit?
It's, well, it's actually yesterday, but yeah. For being technical. But I love being out with her and then like seeing other people who are clearly on a first date. I love seeing that awkward energy, like pure, like they've maybe no spoke for about a good minute or so, and you can see the boy thinking, what will I say next? And should I? I think I just like watching people squirm, to be honest, because I'm just there with Erin. Know what I mean? I'm farting and all that. We're comp. I'm farting in the bowling balls and all that, then shitting on the lane and that. The lane shitter, man.
Bowling your shits and all that.
But you were, so what bowling you booked?
The key. No, but I've got a mad fucked wrist, like.
What's that got to do with booking the key?
No, like bowling, like I've pure never ever been bowling, like since I was a wee guy. I can't remember the last time I went bowling. I went for my pal's birthday, like no long ago, to the key and all. And I was just pure steaming and walking about full of gear and all that, and no like and the fucking the key one. I've
always kind of no understood. Like, I mean, no, I get it. Like, see going at night and maybe getting a booze at the bowling or whatever. But somehow that's still no really. Like, see, like getting pure fucked out, you're not at the bowling, it just doesn't add up for me.
What other, like, cause that's a sport in it, bowling, what other, like, sports do you get steaming today, like snooker?
Darts. You should be able to book good darts, shouldn't you?
Aye. Why is that not a thing? Like, you book a sort of, what would you call it? An okie? You book an okie? Is that not what the thing they stand at?
Aye, put your foot sideways.
Book a lane at the darts.
That always looks pure uncomfortable, I know, doesn't it, the way they're done? Like their foot's going that way and they're looking that way. I think that's weird.
What about the guy who got the 9 darter? Do you see that?
Oh, aye, Willie.
The guy who got the 9 darter for Scotland? Mate, it was
did you not see that?
No, mate.
Willie Boland, mate. Shout out Willie Boland. You're welcome on the podcast. If you can throw one more 9 darter.
It was like all the English kids were singing like Scotland get battered every. It was brilliant. So
It's actually been voted the best moment in Scotland's history since William Wallace.
I heard that.
The most defiant moment. You actually, we could talk about that. You done the thing about the English. Let's talk about the English. So what findings did you get for that?
Just that, because the whole premise of it was that when Scottish people say they hate the English, that we don't really, like, it's all just kind of part of, do you know what I mean?
Aye.
But like when I kind of announced that documentary on Twitter, I was like, oh, this documentary, it's just an hour of me walking about going, so why do we hate the English? And I didn't think getting it. And then all these mad like unionists and like English people found it and they're like, this wee guy hates the English, what's he doing? This shouldn't be allowed on the telly. And I was like, well, hold on, like, just watch it.
Like, spreading like a mad hate speech.
Aye, man, aye. And I was like, well, it wouldn't be on the telly if it was that. Like,
it wouldn't be on the British broadcast.
It's an obvious thing though, I think, with Scottish people, like, if England are playing someday and like, you want the other team, it's just...
That's it, mate. It's just rivalry. Like.
Aye. Is it, do you think it's... I don't feel inferior to the English, but do you think it is a wee sort of wee man sin? Like, pure, they're the big king and we hate them? Or would you, in fact, you could maybe tell us better.
I think so, Myles. We're talking about that. I was talking about how we kind of feel like we've got a wee bit of inferiority complex to the English a wee bit. But I think the real issue, like, see when we say we hate the English, like it's like Westminster, it's like the Tories. Do you know what I mean? It's like the people at the top who are ruling us and like keeping us down kind of thing. Like, that's who we hate.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Football pundits.
I get you. Like, so we kind of like use the people who are in Westminster as an embodiment of England, and that's but then English working class people take it that we fucking hate them as well.
But it's the same as like anywhere. Like you can I say like I've been through my rabbit holes of like what other people think Americans and that, and it's just people walking about Portugal and that, and they're just like, "Would you think Americans?" It's like an American guy doing it, and he's done it in Scotland and stuff and all, and everybody always just goes, "I don't like them." Like the government. It's always about the government. Do you know what I mean? It's like I think it's true a lot of places that if you say you hate that place, it's to do with the way it's run instead of the actual people that are there.
Aye,
100%, man.
Aye, true. But so you done that, and then any other findings for that apart from that we've got an inferiority complex? Did you have fun doing it?
It was good fun, mate. Aye, it was good, man. Aye.
Where were you going about? Were you going about?
Just all Britain, really, mate. Started filming it like January last year. So like it was still kind of lockdown and that, but it was good getting out of the house and that. You know what I mean, like the BBC fucking like hired me a motor. It was a big BMW. It was fucking amazing, mate. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it, man. And getting up to like Inverness and then down to like Corby, because that's like I'd never been to Corby, but it's like known as Little Scotland. Like loads of like Scottish steelworkers moved there, way back.
Is it like the north England?
No, man, it's down towards it's down like Leicester, like kind of no far from London.
That's bizarre, isn't it? I feel like I feel like a guy in my work that was from England has told me about that.
I've not really heard anything for there.
It's a weird
Did he
place,
talk
man.
with like a bit of a Scottish accent? No,
It was just hundreds of Scottish people.
Oh,
there,
they're
and I was like,
thoroughbreds.
there was like in this. There was like a wee bit in like Corby town centre, and it's like Argyle Street. It kind of looks like Argyle Street, and there's like Scotland flag bunting and all that. It's mental, mate.
That's bizarre.
That is mad.
Like Little Italy and that country and shit like that.
You were going down Trongate and all that.
It was brilliant, man. But like we were there, and then we went into like it was like a working men's club. Like it was like Phoenix Nights, man. It was fucking amazing. And it was down there, and it's like the Grampian Club, it's called, and it was like the social club for like all the Scottish workers would go there. It was just amazing, man. And we were talking to all them and stuff, and like hearing about like kind of what happened to the industry in England when like Thatcher was in power and that. You realise that like there's parts of England that are just as hard done by as like schemes up here. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
And you start thinking, hold on a minute, maybe like the working class in Scotland should show a wee bit more solidarity with the working class in England. Do you know what I mean? Because we've all got a common enemy.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
So it's always like that, and it's like Nottingham, Manchester, and that. You're all coming up, and
That's
that,
it, mate.
that's
Aye,
what the
aye.
part was on the independence and that,
100%,
wasn't it?
Aye. Well, even people I worked with that were for like a lot of the guys from Middlesbrough
Aye.
who say that we feel more like used than we do to like Southerners in England. They're like we are like much more similar to use than where to them, even though we're from the same country.
Aye, the northeast was hit bad with all that shit,
Aye.
wasn't it? Like
100%,
back in the
aye.
day.
Aye, it's two like different sort of political ideas in it, but hey, yeah, let's not get too heavy, guys. Yeah.
Well, what made you light in the mood? Tell
Aye.
me about my wee story yesterday.
Oh my God, tell this story. Wait till you hear this story, mate.
This is possibly the worst afternoon of my life, right?
Right.
But it's quite funny, and I was just thinking I can tell it tomorrow anyway. so
Everything is content, mate.
it's just that's what it goes through a content filter. So the M8 there was a big crash in M8 yesterday. Did you see it? Right. So a lorry like fucking went out the central reservation thing. So it was just fucked the two lanes heavy early in the morning. But I don't like listening to the radio or anything. I was like walking my cell and that, so I didn't hear anything about it. So I just went on to go on M8 and I got to like the fort and that, and it was like backed up like 3 lanes, and I get off at like Springburn. So I was like, fuck, right, this is good. So I kept trying to come off, but I couldn't come off. So I was just literally sitting for, I think in the end up, I was sitting for 3.5 hours, just still, man.
Jeez,
but it got to a point, it was like getting dark and that, right? And I was in the middle lane, and I heavy needed a pish. So I was like, right, I've got 2 options here. I can like open the door and like just pish out the side like that. Sorry, I'm off the mic. Pish out the side. I could get out and walk past her as a motor's like, sorry, you know that, and go out and pish at the side of the road, or I could just like pish in a bottle. And then I was like, no, Gene myself up, like I'm gonna just jump out and go out there and pish and all that. But I don't know why I was pure worried about it, because everybody would be like, fair dues, like obviously you need a pish, but
Have your dick out.
but turning around, what?
I'm not just walking on the motor, I'm not mental. Look at this. Use no pisses. Use no.
We all piss, guys, come on. So I was like, Gene myself up, I'm going to get up out this motor, walk past these motors, go out and be like pissed, like you're saying, have my dick out on the way there so everybody knows, right? And then the motors moved like slightly. And then as I was like fucking about with that, somebody like beeped behind me because it was like a wee bit in front of me, and I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to like get out my motor and leave it in the middle of the motorway in case it even just edges forward a bit, because everybody's that annoyed that they're going to be like, fucking get out the way and all that, you know what I mean? So I was like, right, I'll pish in a bottle. So I had like a 750ml bottle, right? And I was like, I don't know how much I pish, but I'm sure it's no more than fucking 750ml, right? So I was pishing, and it was the best pish of my life. You know what I done, right? I pulled my joggies down around my ankles, right?
God, that's dirty, bro.
Just because, like, my seats are like bucket seats. So I was like, I couldn't, like, I don't know,
you
man.
had to give yourself the
So I had to,
pull.
like, can I sit forward, pull the end down.
Wingspan.
Did that, had that under there. I was like, oh, it was so good. And I was like, I had only been pishing for, like, a minute amount of time, right? And I could feel it, like, I could hear it going, like, up to
The volume's getting closer.
it was getting like more high pitched. So I was like, right, I'm going to try and nip this off now. And I was like, oh man, I could pure feel like I just needed one more big, like decent wee bit. I was like, fuck it, and just done it. Overflowed a wee bit. I got frightened, done that, squeezed a bit out, fell out of my joggies on the seat of my motor, on the fucking a bit on the steering wheel and all that, mate. Like, they just pissed everywhere, right? And I just put the lid back on the thing, flung it out the window, and just done that. Oh man, just sat in my pish, like pure happy, because that was the best feeling ever.
See, when you need a piss that much, but you're willing to just take it, ain't you? Like,
Aye, and it actually feels quite sexy. Let's see, when it's warm at first, mate.
but you get
get
aroused when you're doing a piss.
No aroused, just like, like a wee bit of warmth in my legs. Know what I mean?
If
So I
you
felt-
got hard on while you're doing that piss, it was game over for you, mate.
Copper's not.
Listen to this, right? Sorry. Aye, on you go, on you
No,
go.
sorry, but I was just saying, like, that sexiness soon fades when it gets cold and itchy and shit. It was the worst, mate. So I was another 2 hours sitting in my own pish till I got in the house, and I waddled into the house, and I had already phoned my ma going to just pish myself and all that. So when I got in the house, my ma was just no. I was like waddling up the stairs, like, washed him, gave him a sniff and flung him at my ma.
Give him a snip.
What were you going to say there, sorry?
See, just talking about pissing.
yourself.
I remember, right, see in school, my biology teacher, right, in like 5th year, we're doing like into biology, right, which was a nightmare for me, just could not get it. We're in it, and she was like, we're talking, obviously biology, you need to talk about the anatomy, human sexual organ, all these things, right, and she's like that to me, talking about erections, right, talking about, so I mean, but all the boys in the class will know, say you wake up in the morning and you're, I don't know the word she used, like, honestly, I'm
Erect would have been
no,
that.
but I probably would have been, but
So you've got a rock hard stoner.
see, you're fucking rock hard, right? And she said that, and she says, you'll know that when you go to the toilet in the morning and you're like that, you're not able to do a pee, right?
Aye.
And I was like, I am. I still kidding. What?
Comes out like a pressure washer.
Aye, but I mean, it doesn't no come out. She's like acting as if there was a block put on it.
Aye, but there's more.
I was like, you're a biology teacher.
You need to concentrate a bit. I think it is. I think it's like,
It still comes out.
aye.
It just comes out like a fucking, like they see, do you ever watch Takeshi's Castle? See the bit at the end where they need to shoot the gun? Remember that? That was the hardest game show ever.
Can you pish for a hard one?
I can, mate.
It's a talent, boys. Just put a show on.
No pussies,
Travel the
no
country.
pussies in here.
What was I going to say? I see the mad videos, like the biology teachers doing sex ed and all that. There was one that was heavy funny, man, and it was like a mad, like, I don't know if it was a diagram or like a model of this guy, and it was like, it was his arse. And then it turned round, and it was like music, like, and it was like mad gold shit behind it, and it turned round and it had a big stoner. Not even kidding on, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Jeez, right, jeez. But I see, even just on school, right? Obviously, you're an author, Chris. Your writing's fantastic. Just in terms of when you were back in school, right? Did you always have this mind for like creative writing? Do you think?
No, mate.
No.
No, mate. 100%. Like, I left school as soon as I could.
Aye.
I just could not get it. Man, like, English was like the subject I liked the best, and like the one I was probably the best at, but even then I wasn't brilliant at it.
Right.
School just wasn't for me, man. So like, I wanted to leave at the end of 4th year, but because like when my birthday fell, they were like, no, you need to wait till Christmas in 5th year. So I like went back after the summer holidays for 5th year, and they were like, right, getting you ready for exams and all that. And I was like, aye, but like, I'm not going to be doing them. I'm leaving at Christmas.
Aye.
And they're like, well, you still need to do them. I'm like, why? What is going on here? And eventually, like, I just convinced my mom. I was like, why am I going into school? This is mental.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? And like, I remember, like, so many fucking like books and stuff for 5th year, and I was like, this is mental. And then they wanted us to do PE still, right? And I was like, there's no room in my bag for all this stuff. I was like, Mark, can you just like write me a note saying like I can't do PE because I really can't be asked what is the point. But like the only class they could then no, it wasn't it. I tried to leave at the end of 4th year and like put on a mad course at Selleck Park, and it was just for
Being
like
a football player.
no man, no. it was like mainly for like boys that had been like suspended for school, like excluded.
Aye.
And it was like to like try and get you to be like a joiner and like get you ready to go in and do an apprenticeship and all that. I'll do that. I've done it for like a week and I was like, shit man, I'm just going.
What were you learning on it? Do you remember?
Like nothing. Like they take us to like Barrafield, like sell it like the old training ground, like just kick a ball about. And I was like, what is the point of
I
this?
think you were saying pro youth.
You could have been a Celtic player, mate.
You're going, I'm no want to be a joiner. Michael Halloran, like, what, mate? You know you're a striker.
And then like I went back to school and then I didn't want to do PE, so I got my write my note or something. And then like I was like, no, when I was doing the PE, because I like, wasn't on the register, because I was meant to be at this mad course, the only space they had in a PE class for me was like the pure dafties.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
And they were like, I was just like playing table tennis with them, mate. I was
Just getting
fucking like,
out of sight.
aye, man, aye. And I was like destroying them like week in, week out at table tennis,
They're
man.
holding the bat backwards and that.
Eventually,
With the width of
yeah, eventually I was like, I can't do this, man. This is killing
There's
me.
only
Like,
so much.
aye, man.
So
And
what?
then eventually just kind of left before Christmas.
Aye.
Started working full time in Subway.
In Subway?
Aye, man, aye.
What Subway?
Up before.
Up before? That must have been eventful. No.
What, Subway?
Horrendous,
Is there a
mate.
Subway up before?
There used to be, man. It shut down, but there's another one.
you got
opened.
it
Next
shut
to
down,
Millie's
man.
cookies and that, innit?
That's right, mate.
Did I?
Very
Well,
good, isn't it?
Blue Lagoon, isn't it?
Aye, mate.
Aye.
Cruise for there, mate. And I was in there for like a year, and then I was like, right, I'm going to join the Navy. That's what I'm going to do. Going to join the
Yeah.
Navy. And then I went, like, past the kind of first tests and all that. And then they're like, you need to get an eye test. Failed it because I'm colourblind. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man, I'm fucked. Like, what am I going to do? So I got a job in JJB Sports. And then I was there for like 10 years.
Aye.
man.
As soon as you started
And
writing
then,
that.
aye, man, I think I was 30 now, but when I was 25, that was when I started writing. Because I was just like at this pure crossroads in my life. I was like, I'm in the same job I've been in since I was like 17. I'm on minimum wage. I'm not getting anywhere. I don't have any qualifications. I don't know what I'm doing.
Aye.
But I like reading. Maybe I'll be good at writing. I'll just try it.
Aye.
And I just tried it.
So you
And I
didn't
was
even
like,
know
out
you were
of
good
it.
at it before you start trying?
No, I mean, I just
That is
chanced it,
mental.
mate.
Were you no good at like creative writing and that in school, or like what do you think about that kind of what they try and teach you about that? Do you know what I
I
mean?
don't know, man. The way we were kind of taught in school, it just wasn't for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, because in English they would tell you to write a story, but like it had to be about this is that, and this is that. It was just like pure writing by numbers. And I was like, this isn't creative in any way, shape, or form. Do you know what I mean? I'll like write a story about your dead granny or something. Like, I was like, this is
How you
rotten.
feel.
I remember the extent of my creative writing in school. It was I'd tell a big story, right? And this is actually a cool original way to end it, right? You've probably never heard this one. Bring, and then the alarm went. It was all a dream.
I know.
It's because everybody does.
Is it? I didn't know that. I thought I was really.
So my book's out next week. It was all a dream book. It's just all stories. And that's every one of them ends. That's
By
by
Biggie Smalls.
see, when I was writing like essays, I swear to God, right, just because it made me sound, I think it just made me sound smart. Every essay I had in uni, right, left uni now, I left after first year, got done about second year, and I was like, fuck this. Every essay I had the word omnipresent in it.
That's a good one.
Dude, I remember we had done like a social theories essay, and do you want to hear the opening line? Short but powerful. Power is omnipresent. 3 words. You've got the reader in. Beautiful stuff.
We should start every podcast
do you have
like
it?
that.
I suppose your writing's more like your writing's kind of more like humorous than try to sound fucking
That's
the
it,
smart and
mate.
shit.
Aye.
There is one that sounds like really smart because it's meant to be like a higher being. It's like my favourite one. I've spoke to you about it before, the Moth one.
Oh, aye.
So it's like moths are meant to be like more intelligent than humans. And that one, like that's the kind of one that the words are in it. I'm just like, mate, fuck knows.
Get the dictionary beside you.
That was the first story that I wrote.
Was it
So
really?
it was, man. It was because like the week before I sat down to write it, it was like a boy in my work was telling us that his pal was like working down in England, and he was like in his work's van, and he had the window down at night, and he was smoking a fag, and a moth flew into the van and it like, went in his ear.
Right.
But like, see if something goes in your ear, your automatic reaction is just you just put your finger in after it to try and get it out, but you just pushed the thing in further. And he had to go to the hospital to get it pulled out. No way. And I was like, why would a moth like want to do that? Like, what's its deal? Why is it trying to get in somebody's ear?
Can we explain what the story is a bit, maybe?
Aye, man. Aye. Well, the moth, it's called the moth, and it's basically like, it's told by this moth, and he's like, moths are like the most intelligent things on the planet. But like, we've got these wee shitey bodies, like we're not really strong or anything. So what we do is we go in people's ears, and then we kind of burrow through their ears, through their skull, into their brain, and then we can take out like a human body, and then we can just like, live as humans, and they'll know kind of thing. So that's like their deal, man.
Aye.
So I just wrote a story about a moth trying to do
That's
this
the
to a guy.
first story you ever wrote?
Aye, man, aye.
That's mad, isn't it?
The thought I had behind it was like, I thought it was maybe came for, because I've thought stuff before now, people that are pure obsessed with insects, and it's like, you see them and it's like, Dr. McQueer, he studied for 45 years on the behaviour of caterpillars, and he's just sitting, he's like, oh, I love caterpillars. I thought it would have been like that, like a guy that's done that with moths for ages, and then you're like, how did they come about? Oh, they are moths.
Aye, man.
I back the theory, mate. I think it's true.
Here, mate, we don't know. Like, mate, like even like rats are pure smart as fuck.
Aye.
I think that's why they do experiments on rats for humans, because they've got that similar brain to us or something. Aye, that's why they do experiments on
Like
rats.
the cheese and that,
Aye.
like maze, the cheese maze.
I don't know, mate. Aye, but so you wrote that story when you were working in Subway then?
That was when I was in JJB.
Oh, aye,
So it was,
sorry.
Went to Subway, JJB, and then I had others. I had like part-time jobs, just because minimum wage, man, I had no money. I was like, fuck, I need more money, man, like to just get by. And I was working as like I worked as like a barber for a while. Like, I studied to be a barber and got a job in a barber's, and I just fucking hated it. Lasted 2 weeks, and I was like, nah, this isn't for me. Then I worked in like a call centre along the road for here, like a census. Done a week in there, couldn't hack it. And I was a crime scene cleaner. That was the best job I've ever had, man.
What?
That was brilliant, mate. So it was, that was like on my days off for like JJB. That was fucking amazing.
How did you get like?
Mate.
That sounds like quite a big job for. Like,
know,
do you know what I mean? Like to just get on the side. Like, how did that
Aye,
even come
man.
about?
I was like cash in hand. It was like,
Are
you
you-
bit off the books? I was meant to have some kind of certificate or something to be doing it.
Stop up your
Aye,
JJB
man.
girl. Well, that heat needs cleaned. That guy's arm. What would they see if I find like arms in it?
So what? This kind of leads into like, a question I was going to ask you, because you've got a story called Sammy the crime scene cleaner or something.
Aye, mate, aye.
So one, like, why always Sammy? Like that's
Aye.
like a pure. It's always like. There's a few of your stories between both your books that are like the same character, and it's
Aye,
like,
man.
but it's as if it's like goes chronologically. I know, like the
Aye, mate,
Ange
aye.
one as well,
Aye.
and then obviously Sammy. So
Aye.
like, are they two that you would stick with, like going forward?
I just I like writing about they two characters. So like Sammy's just basically based on like my pals and that, and like
Aye.
kind of me and my pals. So like anything kind of daft that ever happened to us, like you can tell it through this like mega daft wee guy. Do you know what I mean? Just like kind of ham it up a wee bit and make it more mental. It's just good, like see like a character like that. If you get a recurring character, like it sounds mental, but like you kind of get to know them when you're writing them. You kind of know how
You've
their
said
brain
that.
works.
We
do you know what
bought
I mean?
because Jamie was talking about this to me before it, and I was like, he's like, I want to ask him about the characters that are like got longevity and he uses regularly, and it's
Aye.
like there's ones because I wanted to ask you like how you you've explained it now, because that's like sort of you tell ones of your pals through that Sammy,
Aye.
and then like Big Angie as well.
It's just a stereotype.
Aye,
innit?
but
That's it, man.
see
Kinda,
the
aye.
ones like I've like. But just looking at it from my point of view, like making videos and that, there's ones that is a one-off thing for me,
Aye,
like a one-off
definitely,
idea,
aye.
and then there's ones that like the kind of Italian American guy and like
Aye,
all
aye.
these things where you're like right, and you actually start to know how they would react to certain things,
100%,
and
aye.
like it's almost like you know who they. It's almost like they actually exist.
That's it, mate,
They
aye.
exist in your head.
That's it, mate. Aye.
Aye.
There's another really good writer, David Keenan, and he writes fucking pure weird books, man. They're amazing. But like I was talking to him about characters and that, and like story ideas and that. 'Cause his stuff's mental, and I was like, where do these ideas come from? And that? Like, how do you come up with them? And he's like, mate, you need to realise that see these stories, see these characters, like they exist, mate, out there in a different universe or something. Or you're like channeling it. You can tune into them, mate, and then you're just writing what's happening to them
Aye.
somewhere else in the universe, man. Like, I don't know if I believe it, but like, I'm quite into
That's
it.
cool,
It was
aye.
quite
People
cool.
have that theory about like ideas, and it's like
Aye, man.
every idea possible is out there, and it's like no, you coming up with it, it's just you channeling it. Like it's out there, and your brain's just like grabbing it for a second, and like that's because it's like it's weird. Like even like I made a video like yesterday about. I was just sitting in my kitchen, and I wasn't even watching Countdown, but it was on,
Aye.
and I was like, the theme, the mad countdown, and I was like, fuck, that sounds like an actual tune. And then and it was literally like, that idea was just there for a minute, you know what I mean? And I just grabbed it and like, but if I just didn't take note of that wee second in my life where I heard that tune, that idea was gone. I would have never had that idea again.
It happens to me all the time, man. Like when I'm like driving, I'll come up with an idea for a story, and then like you get to where you're gone and you forgot it.
You're grabbing shit, just spinning off the road.
But you can like remember you've had an idea, but you can't remember what it was. Drives you insane.
I get that all the time. See when I'm got to sleep, see when I'm like, just lying, that's when I come up with all my ideas, and I'm like, but I get to a stage I'm like, fuck, I need to be up for work, so I don't want to reach on my phone and write this in my notes now. And then when I wake up, it's gone, mate. It's just there. Man. It's the worst thing ever.
You like message me some mornings going, I had this idea last night, and it's like a sentence with hundreds of blanks in it, mate. It's like this does this, but then that happens, and then this, and then it's like, but none of it made sense.
I had this idea. Might still make this, I don't know, but I'll just say it. No. About East Kilbride, the guy that's. Will we make that?
I want to make that. Aye.
Right, okay, we won't. tell you when we're off. But I like see at night. What my brain feels like is like you know how when I'm trying to sleep, my brain feels like, say you've got people in your house, right? But they've got far too mad with it, and you're like, look, yo, we need to be quiet. And you know they want to be quiet, but they just can't be. See that pure over, like, that's what my head feels like. All they mad weight people try to shout, and I'm like, just trying to, like, just calm it down a bit, troops, not. And I'm just like, guy drives through East Kilbride and get. So when do you think you come up with most of your ideas then?
Like, loads of them are just kind of like dreams that you kind of half remember, and then you just fill in the blanks, like you were saying, kind of thing. Like, other times it's just like something will happen to me, or I'll just think like, all right, this has happened, but what if it happened this way? Like, what happens next?
So you're like constantly like, I don't know, like constantly, no like people watching, but just aware and like reflecting on what's happening all the time, just waiting for things to happen like that.
It was really, I felt like I was like most creative when I was like working in JJB and I was writing, because like you're serving like hundreds of people every day, mate. Do you know what I mean? You're talking to them, you're getting stories off them and that, and it's amazing. I kind of felt like once I left and became like self-employed and I'm just doing this now, like just in the house all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like at the computer, and there's
the exact same as you, mate. Like, see when it was because I worked in, like, see when I worked in the railway, right? Like fucking characters, like constantly. Guy comes in, bullshits, all Bill. Guy with his air show with his belly button piercing a man bun, like just so. And then like lorry drivers that would come in, like you're like, because I feel like it's the exact same thing with you, as in like you're just actual. It's like your brain's just observing everything that's going on in the characters 100%. You're meeting, and like a guy might come in and deliver something into my work, and I'll be like, fuck, the way that guy like walked in here, or like the way he said like a certain thing, like. You take that and put it into a situation that you came up with, and like you can merge them together and all that. It is all about. I think it's like some people just have brains that like take in this information and it soaks into their brain. They absorb their surroundings and then can create things with it.
There's some people like this most of the time and all. You just kind of float about, like just. Do you know what I mean? You go for A to B, just not thinking about shit and all
sometimes that. I think that's like a happier way, because sometimes like you can get, see when you're like constantly trying to turn everything into a sketch in your head, it's like, especially like if you've got sort of like writer's block like in your head, like I think like for a period in time there, like you're trying too hard to come up with stuff, you know what I mean? You're like you're like forcing it when, and I felt like that. I think that's why I took a break for videos for a wee while, because I was just like, I'm just sitting pure, right, like I'm trying too hard, and when you're trying too hard, it's not going to be as funny as like the idea with the countdown thing, that was a spur of the moment thing, and like they're usually the funniest things you come up with, and you're not thinking too much about it.
What do you think about like writer's block and that? Is that?
Oh, big thing, mate.
What do you think about it?
Do
you know him? What's he like?
I would see like with my second book, like after the first one, man. So after things came out, I managed to get into college to like, study creative writing. I was like, why? Never studied this before, I learned how to write kind of thing.
Was that after the first book?
Aye, man, aye. So like, and then after like after the college course finished, I was like right into writing this next one, but I was trying like you're saying, man, like trying too hard, like that. And
can you see it?
I was like trying too hard, man, and I was like, you know, what do people want for the second book? They're going to want kind of mirror the stuff that's in the first one. So it needs to be funny, it needs to be daft. And I was writing this stuff, man. It was pure like shite I was writing, man. I was reading it back. I wrote a whole book. And I was like, oh my God, this is absolute garbage. Because I was reading it back and I was like, this reads as if it's somebody kidding on me writing a book, like a parody of myself. I was like, Jesus Christ, man, like this is so bad.
Do you think that was maybe college that done that, like trying to stick to like the rules and stuff?
I don't know, it could have been, man. I don't know. But anyway, like, I scrapped it and I was just like, right, what do I want to write, man? What do I want to read? Just start again. And like, I battled it out in like 3 months. It was amazing, man. I've never like had that kind of flow of creativity since.
Mate, that second book's so good. I know, man.
I think it's when, I think it's when you start putting pressure on yourself. I think that's when it comes out and it's like it's too much, it's too forced, and you're trying too hard to be yourself in a way. You know what I mean? And you're like you're saying things, you're like, aye, that's something I would say, and you're like that. You know what I mean?
That's what people would expect me to say.
Because you had that because you had that first book, you're like, right, I got such a good reception for that. It needs to be sort of like that, but different. And then you're just probably adding all these stresses on yourself, and it's making your writing no feel as just like carefree and natural and funny naturally. You know what I mean?
I was writing that first one, man. There was like no pressure. Like, I was just writing them like days after work. I had no expectation of getting them. I wasn't writing a book. I was just writing stories to put online.
That's what I was going to ask, guy.
Because you did that on Twitter first, didn't you? I remember that.
And I was just like, if I can do like, if I can write a story every week, stick it online, eventually like somebody will notice it. Do you know what I mean? Some publisher somewhere will see it.
I remember because my sister's pure into like reading. Like, she's an English teacher, and she used to send me them on Twitter.
Oh no!
And she was like, "Oh, and a book's coming out and all that," and she was like, "He's got to bring a book out." And I pure remember that happening. And I remember you tweeting like, "Right, I think we're going to make like 100 of them." Then, oh no, 500. Right, no, we need to make 2,000 now and all that. Like, because it just went mad, didn't it?
That's right, mate. I remember like went for like a meeting with the publisher, and they're like, "Right, we're going to print off 500 copies of this book." I was like, I don't know 500 people. How the fuck are we going to sell that? Like, and then done like the pre-orders, they sold it. Like, we'll just keep printing more until it just kept going, man. It was amazing. So it was. I just was not expecting it.
How long have we been telling you about Investor Watch for, guys? It's been a long time now. You still not signed up for it? You joking?
Come on, Chips.
We're fucking taking a piss out of us, Jamie.
Yeah.
Like, think about it, right? Honestly, you just go on YouTube and you just type in a couple of letters and you get all these hours of entertainment, and then what? You just don't do anything back for us.
I know, that's terrible.
You just sit there and take it. Oh, that's funny. No.
No thanks.
Time you start giving a bit back, guys. And I think you should give back to Investor Watch UK. Look, because they're going to give back to you. They're going to teach you how to trade crypto, how to trade shares, all investing knowledge at Investor Watch. Now, don't take our word for it. We're a couple of slimy sleazeballs.
Scumbags.
But what you can do is take one of their Trustpilot reviews for it. So I'm now going to read one of the reviews by a man called Sam.
Are you going to date in any
Very
style or anything?
trustworthy name. We'll just see what happens. A wealth of knowledge to be gained for such a small price. After starting trading crypto myself, I lost a fair chunk of money. So found myself very unenchanted with the whole thing. Until I came across this incredible service on Instagram. They offer 3 services from stocks, crypto and property. For the price you pay, I think this is a steal, as the knowledge you earn along the way is priceless and will last a lifetime. Never mind if you have any questions at all. Drop them a mail on Instagram, and we will revive a swift and knowledgeable reply with more information you could ask for. Definitely recommend to anyone with a goal to trade, and that is a Trustpilot review. 93% excellent. And we don't even have that.
No, we don't.
We've got 96.
99.
And yes, guys, so go down to the description. You're going to get a free month. We've told you these are guys you can trust. It's Trustpilot. It's in the name. So go down, put some money into crypto, put some money into shares. Follow these guys. They know what they're talking about. Again, they're not selling you the dream with the Lambo on Instagram and that. These are real, legit guys. So go check them out. Cheers.
Cheers. You don't need to go Myles for a haircut that's Myles better. Myles is Myles better.
Myles Co is Myles better than all the rest. That is the logo and motto. And that is on the Myles coat of arms.
And I've got it tattooed, the Myles coat of
So
arms.
you do actually?
Aye.
On your back?
I'll show you at one point.
Show you later. But aye, Trips, I mean, we all know the feeling. We wake up one day, you've maybe had a hectic week, hectic month even, and you look in the mirror and you go, fuck, I've just noticed I need a haircut.
Mate, that actually happens to me all the time.
Aye.
Like, I don't think about having a haircut until I wake up one day and I just go, what have I been doing?
I'm
Like-
very much the same, so I'm glad we've got the guys down at Myles Co to sort us out.
Yeah.
Look, it's in the bustling west end of the city, yeah? We are talking people watching, we're talking vibes, we're talking creative people,
Talking coffees, fucking burritos, cakes.
talking vegan restaurants,
whatever you want.
vegan coffees,
Oh,
and vegan
people.
air.
Yeah,
The air is vegan in the West End now, they've changed. But aye, if you need a haircut, guys, you know where we go. Myles and Co. Who we got? We've got young Campbell in the scissors.
Yep.
Um,
Delicate Campbell.
Delicate Campbell, very delicate, doesn't he? Very, gets a fright when he cuts your hair and that. But it's superb, but it's careful.
Aye, you don't even feel it. It just...
And you want that? You want it to be careful?
No, see, I don't. I like
You have a-
Ryan style.
Reckless Ryan?
Aye, right.
Wreck-It Ryan?
Well, obviously, I've described him hundreds of times. He looks like a
Aye.
wee goblin, man. He puts his elbows in your shoulders really hard and then just jabs into you with scissors. But it comes out
stabs your
amazing.
head with the scissors?
Aye, comes out brilliant, man. But you need to go and see that.
Aye.
As I always say, do you know what I
Need
mean?
to see it in the flesh. So if you go in, ask if you want a kind of fade, sort of gentle, sort of rhythmic, moist experience. Ask for young Campbell in the scissors.
If you want an experience, go to Ryan.
Just an experience in general, just a life experience. But I get down to Myles and Co. Mention Reilly's Gaff, you'll get 10% off your haircut. And I mean, how simple is that? All you need to say is 2 words, Reilly's Gaff, you're getting money off your haircut. Think about that, Troops. So go down to the description, you'll get their address, 261 Byres Road.
Yes, well
As I said, in the heart of the West End, baby, yeah. And yeah, if you're booking through the Booksy app, write that in the notes, Reilly's Gaff. And it lets them know that we're the best.
Aye.
And they're the best. And everybody can just be the best together. Cheers, guys. Aye, so guys, look, I mean, obviously we've got the new Collection 26 stuff on. As you can see, I've got me last year, Tenerife.
You look great
I was
at
in
that
much
time,
better
mate.
shape back then. I was with the PT Dale McColgan. I was through his summer shredder course.
Your best friend, your worst nightmare.
Aye, your best friend, your new best friend, and your new worst nightmare, Dale McColgan PT, coming 2022, coming Jan 2022, like a blockbuster movie there. But yes, I mean, guys, Collection 26 been here for day one. The garments are superior to other garments in Glasgow, genuinely. The comfort that I'm feeling right now, honestly, I feel like a loved one that's maybe passed away has came back down to earth for a day and
Kissed your forehead.
kissed me in the cheek.
Oh, nice.
And then in the forehead, and then the lips, and I'm like, get off me, this is weird. But then they said, don't worry about it, I've just missed you a lot. And that's kind of what I'm feeling right now, guys. So get down to the description. You can always use the code Reilly's Gaff at checkout, 10% off your order.
How do you spell that, Reilly's Gaff?
Reilly's Gaff, it's REILLYSGAFF.
Well done.
And
REILLYSGAFF.
I can tell you worry when you do that, didn't you?
It's when I get to
After
the S, mate.
drink it all goes down.
I just think it's Reilly Gaff.
Reilly
That's what
Gaff?
I think it in my head.
You actually made their Twitter and called it Reilly Gaff, so I'm starting to get a bit worried about you and your spelling, Jamie. But hey, guys, honestly, been here for day one. Go check them out. Go buy a wee hoodie. Tag us. Take a wee picture and tag us in it. We'll share it to our story. You could be famous. So there you go, Trips. See when that book came out in the reception and you've got people like Irvin Welsh and all that and like, it's on the front, isn't it?
Lemmy meets Irvin Welsh. Clever, funny, irreverent, and Scottish as fuck. Never Chris.
Perfect description. But how surreal was that for you when that came out and you've got all these people like, and you like, it's not like you've been this writing prodigy for a young age.
know,
You're
mate.
like, I was born to do this. You know what I mean? You're just kind of like fucking on off your aim back, landed into it. Like,
Aye,
was
mate.
that not just mental for you when that came out and you're like, well, I'm a fucking author?
It was bizarre, mate, 'cause it was maybe like a year between me posting the first one on Twitter to like that coming out as
Aye.
a book.
Fucking
Do you know
hell,
what I mean?
that's mental.
It was just pure weird as anything, man. Because like when I was doing it, like I was putting the stuff on Twitter, I hadn't told anyone in my work. And I hadn't really told any of my pals who were new on Twitter and that, so like, they didn't really know anything about it. And then they found out and they're like, you
You end up getting a bit of following, didn't it? You ended
Aye,
up
man.
getting like a kind of following on Twitter, didn't you?
That's it, man. Aye, that's how it kind of built
So
up.
Twitter
man.
was like the kind of like launch pad sort of for it.
Confident,
Aye.
aye.
And is that how,
Definitely.
like, because obviously, talking about confidence, like, see for me, right, just thinking it from my angle, right, see when I was like, I first started making videos when I was in the railway, right, and it literally just started off as like posting things on my story. Like, there's a guy I worked with, I remember I done a thing and I wish I still had it, right? It's probably one of the funniest things I've ever done, right? It was a story about, I used to work with a guy who was in like, he was in the flute band, not like, proper like into all this stuff, right? And I done like, I was doing an impression of him in like, in the lodge, right? And like, and then he walked in and caught his pal getting halfway a guy in the top. It was a bizarre thing, right? But I remember hundreds of people were caught, like replying pure, this is heavy funny and that. And then I took all that, made it into a video, and then I posted that, and like I was getting because I never knew I could do that. Like it's not like you're in school and then you just learn you can. Oh, there's a class for comedy videos or sketches. You don't learn that you can do this shit. So I started doing it, and then I was like, fucking. I found it quite. It sounds stupid, but like I found it quite easy to do. I didn't find it hard to come up with stupid scenarios and characters and what would this guy say to this guy and what would a funny way would that guy react in that. Like, I didn't find that difficult. My brain just must be tuned like that. But I wasn't confident until people were saying, this is fucking funny, mate, or like good feedback and that. So were you getting that confidence just with posting it on Twitter?
Aye, definitely, man. That's what kind of kept me going. Because like the traditional way of getting a book published is like you write your stories and then you'll maybe send these stories to like magazines that publish like short stories and poetry and stuff. Like nobody really reads them. Do you know what I mean? Nobody I knew was reading them anyway. And then you go through the pure long process of like sending your book to a publisher. It takes like 6 months or a year to get a reply, if you get a reply. And it was just like, and then you get hundreds of knockbacks all the time. And I was like, if I had went down that route, as soon as I got a knockback, I would have been, nah, fuck this, man, I'm done. Like, I'm straight at it, it's fine.
Confirming any doubts you had in your head that I can't, I'm not, because obviously, like, there is, like, even I sometimes have that, and it's like a mad imposter syndrome. You're like, I'm just like, because sometimes I watch my videos or I'll see something and I'm like, that's not even that fucking good. Why do people think I'm good at this? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like you're just waiting for the day everybody realises that you can't do this. You know what I mean?
I know, man.
How did the publishing actually come about then?
It was just I sent one of my stories. I was looking for like people who were starting up these magazines that publish poetry and short stories. And I was like, if I can find one who wants to set up a magazine but then transition into publishing books when they get bigger, if I can get in at the start when they've got a magazine on the go, then a couple of years down the line and start publishing books, I'm in. I'll be kind of front of the queue kind of thing. So I did that with 404 Inc. who published that. They published a magazine. They accepted the story that I sent them for the first issue, and then had like a launch party for it kind of thing. So I went to it, and then fucking like 6-7 drinks into the night kind of thing. I like went up to the publishers and I was just talking to them. I was like, listen, you're fucking steaming, man. I was mortified the next morning. I was like, listen, I've got like enough short stories to fill a book. Do you just want to have a look at it? And they were like, aye, just send us them, aye. Yeah, I woke up the next morning. I was like, oh my god, that is mortifying. Like, and like a pure brass neck got up to these poor lassies, like, oh, do you want to read my book? Like, I was like, no, man, never again. I can never talk to these people again, man. And then like a month later, they emailed me and they were like, oh, you said you had enough stories to fill a book. We'd be interested in having a wee read at it if you still got them. I couldn't believe it, so I sent them it. I was like, if nothing comes of this, it's fine. Like, they've showed an interest. That's good, man. That's enough to keep me going, kind of thing. Then another couple of weeks later, they're like, I want to publish this as a book. I fucking could not believe it, man.
That's class, isn't it?
Amazing feeling, it.
It's mad what the courage of some booze will do for you, innit?
Dutch courage.
It's a thing though, like that Dutch courage is very hit or miss. It could make everything happen or it can ruin everything for you.
We were talking about it on that Deep Fried episode that we were talking about the wee guy that drank 25 beers on his train to his new job.
No, it was like it was like 8. It was like 20 cans of lager, right? Like this wee Welsh guy. I was on his new job. He drank 20 cans of lager on the train. But we were saying,
and then battered the security
guard. And then fought with a security guard, right? Only gone right. We were like, how do you end up in that? Like, how do you end up? First of all, how did they acquire so many cans? Like, that's quite a lot of cans to buy. Because I can see how you would get mad with it and just be like, I'm just going to keep getting more mad with it. But he must have had the cans already.
Aye.
And plus, right, say if you're like going up to, right, say you were travelling, right, say you're going on a lovely wee date or something up to Edinburgh. You're getting the train from Street to Edinburgh Waverley, right? How many cans do you think, say you're having a couple of cans, you're going up to the markets or something, how many cans do you think you drink in that time? Like just...
you get like 45 minutes, didn't you? You get like 3, 4,
exactly.
20,
So Where's this guy going to work? 20 cans? How long would that take to drink 20 cans?
It's one of the 9-hour trains in China.
Aye, I know.
Just keeps going, man. He's had 2 sleeps in between it.
We need to try and follow up with that story because honestly, a lot of things don't add up.
Imagine as Wales, so the train up to here, imagine how many cans you'll drink, and imagine I'm trying to fight with us up here if we come up for the podcast.
Maybe he's coming up here.
10-12 hour train coming up here.
20 cans. And we were saying though, it's funny the fact they got to about 10 cans and was still like, I'm just going to keep going.
Like you stopped at 7 and you still regretted what you did.
I know. But that's insane. Like that's how it all came about.
That's mad, man. Aye. I still remember like the day, like they like send copies out to you, but like sent just one to start with, like, and it came through my letterbox. I was like pure shaking opening it. I was like, man, this is. I fucking wrote that.
Aye.
Your name on it and all
Aye,
that.
man. Like,
See, even the title, I mean, see, just calling it Hings. I think it's genius. It's so because it is just wee Hings. And
It is, mate,
so was there any other names that you had for it? Or
no, I couldn't come up with a title for that. I had no idea what to call it because like, it's all different stories. So I was like, how do you find one?
All different
word
Hings.
aye. And then I think I was saying to publishers like, I don't have a name for it. Do you have any ideas? And they said no. And I was like, maybe we'll just ask Twitter. Kind of thing. I remember like, I'd said to my pal one night like, I need a name for this book, and he's like, what's it about? I was about Hings, like just daft things and weird things and shit. He was like, Hings. And I suggested it to the publisher, and they did like a poll on Twitter, and everybody was like, I call it Hings.
Yeah, it's a really good name.
see at the time when you maybe heard that, you were maybe like, it makes sense, but I can't fucking call it Hings. Like, you know what I mean? But see, looking back now, you probably couldn't imagine it being called fucking anything else. You know what I mean?
I know.
So see the second book, what was the name? Because I think you tweeted something about you were going to call it. What was the name you were?
I wanted to call it Repeat Prescription.
Right, aye.
But it kind of felt like, again, like maybe the same. Like,
if people
like,
didn't know you as well, they would be like it's not about it, but see that like the pure big letters here we fucking go and it's all colourful.
That was, and then, I don't know, I think the publishers tried to like get a cover for it using Repeat Prescription, but it just didn't look right. Like, the words were too long and stuff, and it couldn't fit right and stuff.
Prescription's quite a long word, isn't it?
It was just a bit of a mouthful as well. And then I think it went quiet for a few days, and then they phoned me, and they're like, why don't we call it HWFG, like 4 big letters on the front of it? I was like, oh, fuck, aye. That sounds cool.
As well, man, because it's like the books are. Have you had feedback on them for like like the people that aren't Scottish get them and enjoy it?
They seem to, but I think it's the thing with any kind of book that's written using like a regional dialect, like people are put off by it. Do you know what I mean? But like they have like sold alright in England and stuff. And
what about like expats and that, like in America and Australia and stuff? You get.
Aye.
Can you see the analytics for that? No,
you don't see it now, but people like send me pictures on Twitter and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody, I don't know, like somebody's got relatives in like America or Canada or whatever, they'll maybe get them a copy and send them it just because it's full of the way we talk. Do you know what I mean?
They tend to I get quite a lot of messages for people like that live in Australia that are Scottish, and like obviously my videos are like heavy in the paint with the slang, and you know what I mean, they must be like, oh, see like Ed Sheeran the fat, the Glasgow banter, like that's mate, that's see when you move away, but that's what you get. Like I swear, like I would have chopped a few of my fingers after hearing a Scottish accent when I was in Vietnam. Honestly, so many like Americans, South Africans and that, but like but I noticed even like I was making YouTube videos when I was in Vietnam, but it was just about like tips for moving to Vietnam and like telling other people they were pish, mate, but like I was making them and I realised he'd be like listening to me talking. I'm like, I'm talking different. I was only there for like a year, but I was like neutralising my accent a bit more than that.
See, when I stayed in Australia, I said somebody, a boy came up to us and I was like, oh, what's happening, where are you from? And he was like, Poso, fuck's sake. I was still laughing, mate. It was brilliant. I meant where you face. I meant to ask where you face. I've got something to say. Can you explain yourself with your snail theory?
My snail theory? Aye, man. Right, so there's like a conspiracy theory in my second book. So it's not really a story, but like this is something like genuinely I believe, right? I remember being a wee boy, and like I was quite into insects and stuff. I quite liked them. When you're a wee guy, you just like wee fucking disgusting things. You know what I mean? And I remember being like 4 or 5 watching a documentary about insects, and the narrator was like, snails only like it where it's warm and when it's wet. And I was like, all right, cool. That's why I've never seen a snail in Scotland. Fair dues. And then like I got to it. I happened when I was like 4. I just never saw a snail until I was like 15. And I was like out the back one day, like opened the back door and it's pure raining and there was like snails everywhere. I was like, what the fuck? I like shouted on my mom. I was like, look at this, snails. And she's like, oh, I didn't think you go to snails in Scotland. And I remember pure clear as day my mom saying that to me, like, I didn't think you get snails in Scotland, right? But then like I mentioned it in school and everybody was like, it's just a snail, mate.
Like, is it a mad exotic animal that you've seen? Like, you seen like a crocodile or something?
I know, man. But like, it's pure weird that I would go like 15 years of my life without seeing a snail in real life. Do you know what I mean?
Actively
So
looking for the
something's
fuckers
weird.
and all.
Like looking for them, like wanting to see it.
Do you remember seeing snails when you were a wee guy? Because I like heavy day, and then when I read that, I was like, do you? I don't know if it's just like I can just imagine
something
seeing
you've
them.
imagined, like you've assumed it happened. No. I think I used to. This is the opposite way. So I used to see that these all the time when I was a wee guy. No, I never ever see them. Worms.
Oh, aye.
Never see. I feel like I used to see worms all the time, like in dirt, and you'd
See
be a
them,
bit.
like, on the pavement.
That's because you're like down on the grass, like picking through grass, not in it. Like when you're a wee guy.
We'll go and find some worms. Maybe that is it, man. Maybe I'm just not the wild enough.
Mate, I read something the other day, right? I seen a Cadbury's cream egg, right? And it felt pure small in my horn, and I was like to Morgan, I don't know if this is just because like I'm bigger now. And I looked it up, mate, and do you know how Cadbury's got bought by a mad American company a few years ago?
Right.
And they shut down like the Cadbury factories and that in England, and like it was a big thing because like there was people losing their jobs and shit, right? And apparently they've actually came out and said mad Alice in Wonderland shit, like they've not got smaller, you're just bigger and all that. But then people are posting on Reddit like, no, look, and measure them and all that.
Somebody's got an OG cream egg 10 years ago.
OG cream eggs there, bro.
If you're looking at original recipe. Like when people were full stop buying iron brew before they changed the sugar in it.
44 mil cream eggs there, bro.
All the mad how funny is it, all the mad shops like see like mental munchies and all that, like they all had the mad that was like selling it for like $5 a bottle and all that.
You had to go in and ask for like blue Fanta, and I'd be like, right, and then go press a button in the back and the doors.
No, what I found weird like that, you've been to Amsterdam?
Aye.
Right, see in Amsterdam, right? See, I don't know if it was just where I was or whatever, but you see like buying vodka, it's like weirder than buying like other shit there. Like, so I went into a shop, right, where we had bought like truffles for, right? Aye. So like, I buy the truffles and that, and we're like, I need to get booze. You get any vodka? And he's like, yes, my friend, come back here. I'm like, maybe just bought fucking truffles after you. You can give me vodka. I had to go up into a mad loft and pure, it's in a brown bag and that. I was like, what? But I think like they don't drink, I think like they're no big on like spirits and shit like that. So they just, I don't know.
If the police stop you, tell them it's China White.
Aye, mate. I don't know. It was bizarre. But see, we're talking about like people raising the prices and that. See, when I was in Vietnam, at the start. So like, I was in Vietnam like January. So COVID came here like March, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when everything kind of kicked. March 2019, maybe. Does that sound right?
Something like no, it was like late in 2019.
Or 2022 was it no? No,
2020.
2020, aye. 2020. Don't know, whatever year it was. So Vietnam shares a border with China, right? Aye. So it was there. When I was there, it hit there first before it even got here, right? So we were there and like everyone's like, what the fuck's going on? They all wear masks, right? Like just cutting about, right? So they're cheap, right? Like every shop sells them. See, as soon as COVID hit and it was like, wow, panic. Mate, like every shop you went in had like times their price by 10 on the masks. They're just mad. Like either like, so like Vietnamese dong, that's their currency, and it's like 30,000 is £1, right? So they're like charging us like, it used to be like 30,000, they're like, right, it's 300,000 for a packet of masks now.
No way, a tenner?
A tenner for masks, and it used to be £1 and that, and it's like, how can you be like allowed to do this? Disgraceful.
I was in End see the start of the pandemic, and I said like there was Bape like masks, do you know what I mean? Like Bape and like 90 quid and all that, and I was like, oh look, they're just doing that because this pandemic, and the guys like, no, they've always been in here, and it's like because like see like the tourists, the Japanese tourists and stuff, they come in and they're always cutting about pure dressed like fucking dressed to the nines, bro. Like,
mate, honestly, seeing Vietnam, like I think it's because the air pollution's that bad that everybody just walks about in masks. Because I came back, right? So I came back. So we were in Vietnam for like another 2 months, right? January, February, with all our savings, right? Staying there because their government was like, I was teaching English there, right? So they were saying, oh, the schools are going to shut for a week, but they're open next week. And then, mate, every week it was just like, oh, it's another week.
Aye.
Oh, it's another week. And then we like spend all our savings to stay there. Aye. And then once we realised this isn't ending anytime soon, we're like, we need to go home. So we came home in March. And it was just like I remember being on the phone to my dad in Vietnam, like, this thing's fucked and that, and he's like, Boris Johnson's on the news saying it's just like a cold and that. I'm like, you don't have any idea what's coming, honestly.
Mate, because see, when I was here around that time, I was here and I was meant to be moving to Vietnam.
Aye, we were talking
August,
about it.
Mate,
aye.
And it was after you just came back, so I was like, this thing's going on, but like, I think Vietnam, their sound, like, it'll be all right, like, and I thought it would be sound, so that was like that dragged on to like a swim still here now because of that.
See, like when I came back, I brought masks back with me, right? Because it was like, but nobody, it was very weird here. Like nobody was wearing them here, right? It wasn't like a rule. They weren't selling them that here, right? So I came back like March. This is like when it just hit here. And I was like that because we never mind when COVID first hit. Everybody like knew if you get COVID, it's like, oh fuck, I need to isolate. But like, at first, when people had got COVID, it was like, oh no, like everybody, nobody knew what it was. And that it was a big worry. So I came back and we were going. I remember being at Asda, Rob Royston, right, in the car park, and I was like, give me a mask out here, and she's like, are you going to wear a mask in here? And I was like, aye. And she's like, but nobody else will be wearing them. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not conforming to these
they
people.
Were all the sheeple.
Aye. So I'm like, give me a mask out, mate. And I remember I had this mask on. You'd have think I was walking about with a deed dug in my arm, mate. Honestly, people were like, people were heckling me, mate, like out loud. Right, mate. I'm walking up like by the chicken and that. I could just hear, what? Like that? Can't wear my fucking mask, man. Fucking world's gone mint. I can hear they're not even like hiding it. And now who's fucking laughing, mate? Hope that guy did get COVID.
Aye, you were wearing that Jason mask.
aye. But it was mad when I came back for there. It was very weird. Like, nobody knew what to do in that. Like, was that a weird time for you getting put into lockdown? Like in terms of your creativity for writing and that.
Aye, mate, it was horrible, man. Me and my girlfriend were staying in Denison when the lockdown happened, man, and I don't know, mate, it was pure weird. Like, we went for a walk along Duke Street and like all the shops are shuttered. And there was like mad big COVID signs up and all that. I was like, that's fucking terrifying, man. And she got really no well, but it wasn't COVID. And our mum and dad, they stay up in Dunblane, they were like, you should just come up here because it's better. Do you know what I mean? Like out in the countryside and that. I was like, fuck it, we'll do that, man. So we went up there. It was just so much better. So we stayed there for 2 weeks, went back to Denison. We were like, oh my God, man, this is horrible. Like, it's just, man. But I like creative wise, it was murder, mate. Because like I thrive off like getting out and like meeting people, and that's how I get my ideas. And then all of a sudden you're just stuck in the house. Can't do it and can't go anywhere. You're scared to go out. Like
it worked up your like. See, in terms of creativity, it was like it did get hard for me eventually. But see at first, right? See, because I was just indoors, like nothing else to do. It was like my brain, like it's all these ideas were coming out, and I remember thinking like, if there's ever a time to be uploading stuff to like social media apps, because nobody was doing anything, everybody's just stuck on their phone. I was like, let's capture the people while we can, baby. Let's capture their attention. But I just remember that it was so weird. But I just remember I would go like, I just get into a routine of like getting up, and then I would go a walk every day and try and come up with a video idea on that walk, like a 2 hour walk, and just try and come up with something.
A lot of yours were out and about and you're talking into your...
and it was just, some of them were just like the strawberry laces hanging that, like...
No, the chaotic ones.
Fizzy strawberry laces are quite chaotic, but...
They mess you up, bro. See, and also with the bad boys, mate.
I know. In fact, there's something else I want to ask you about, because I was listening to things again just while I was walking in that, and there was a story, right? Do you remember the story about the guy who goes into the mattress company with the bottle? Do you remember what the guy's name was?
No, I can't remember.
Do you know?
No.
Should we explain the? I should explain the plot, right? So there's this like sort of failing mattress company. You can correct me if I'm wrong here, right? So it's like
I know the story now.
So it's like a failing mattress company that goes. A boy walks into like the boardroom, all the directors having a meeting. He's like, "Look, I'm going to save your company."
I fell there at his phone.
So he's like, I'm going to save your company. I've come up with this idea. Like, trust me, you're going to sell all the mattresses in the world, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about, for fuck's sake? And the guy's like, this wee bottle, and it's like a bottle, like
magic mellow yellow.
Mellow yellow. It's like a new energy drink, but it makes you piss the bed. And so obviously, if you piss the bed, you're going to need to go and buy a new mattress. But the directors are like that, like, why the fuck, why would that, people are going to click on to the fact that they're pissing the bed because of this thing, and they're going to talk, but people talk, like, we're going to get fucked for this. And he's like, be honest, would you go into work the next day and tell somebody you pissed the bed? And he was like, son, you've just fucking saved this company's rights of my check and all that.
Because it's not an energy drink, it's like a sleep.
Sleep, sleep thing. I'm mellow yellow. But I was about to ask, like, even just because obviously that name is Evan, and as soon as I heard the name, quite an uncommon name, so I thought I was getting in trouble. I was like, did I do this? And I'll be honest, I smoked a joint, mate, so I was even more hard in the paint with, was this me? My head was all over the place. But I just wanted to ask in terms of, like, see when you're naming people and stories and that, like, either like where do you get the names for it, or how important do you think the name is to a character? Do you think it's important?
I think it can be important, aye. But sometimes, like, just based on like the people you know in your life, you'll have an image of like what a Peter will look like, or like what a Jamie will look like, kind of thing.
Aye.
And like, you just get a feel for people, and you just, I don't know, that feels like an Evan. Do you know what I mean?
Like Big Angie's definitely one of the ones. Like as soon as you hear like Angie, know exactly the picture.
That's it.
Aye.
Because Evan's quite a weird name, so I was like, I don't know, that they kind of stand out to you, because there's hundreds of Jamies in it, and I don't think of that once.
Because you probably encountered a lot of Jamies in your life. I was telling Chris a story about I was in this gaff, and I don't meet other Evans a lot, right? It's an unusual name, even though it's not like a name somebody like you would say, "Aye, my name's Evan." They're like, what? As if I'm never like that's a name kind of thing. But it's no, I don't meet a lot of other Evans. And I remember being in this gaff, and there was another boy called Evan in the gaff, and I remember somebody come up here, he's called Evan and all, like it was a mad thing. And I remember I had been doing a few things at that party, right? So I'm like, and then I just stopped it, and I was pure, yeah, mate, I'm called Evan and all, man. And he was pure, no way, mate, because he's obviously been living like this, a shadow. You know what I mean? He's obviously been living in this isolation. Do you know what I mean? We don't get to meet don't get to meet each other a lot. So and I unfollowed him the other day, actually, so sorry about that. But it's died off. I've not seen him since. Man.
I know another Evan. He's Irish, aye. He's in Cork, aye.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Distant. When am I going to meet him?
Aye, that's true.
Where are all the Evans shit? If you're called Evan, you've got a free invite in this podcast. What's the actor? Is there not an actor called Evans?
Evan Goldberg or something, is that not?
Oh no, I'm thinking Michael. Is it Michael Cera? Michael Cera. His character. He's called Evan.
That's about the guy I just said. The writer, Evan Goldberg. That's his pal.
Right. I thought you meant Evan, the guy in Cork. I was like, you're right.
That's about my pal. That's about my pal in Cork. He's a Gaelic teacher in Cork. It's very similar.
Super bad. Honestly, it's all about him, man. But but I was going to say, my favourite story I think that I've heard is Postman Pat.
Right.
Can you explain to people that? Do you remember this story? Aye. So can you explain the plot? Because I just remember hearing it again when I was in work that week, and I was just like, couldn't keep a straight face. Like I'm sitting doing something for stupid. I just remember like thinking, now that way, if you hear something on a podcast, it's funny, like rolling Reilly's gaff when you're like rolling about laughing, and you're in public transport and you're like trying not to laugh because you think you're going to look up your head case here.
Fucking idiot.
But I remember being in work and just a bit. It was like, oh no, tell the plot and then we can talk about it.
Aye, man. So I wrote a story about a postman called Pat, but it's set like
original.
Aye, man. And it's like a wee bit in the future, and like drones have like replaced the Royal Mail, so they don't need posties anymore. So he's like on his last round, he's got like one last letter to deliver, and then he's back at the sorting office, and his boss is like, "Mate, we've replaced you by a drone," basically, kind of thing. And he's like, "Oh fuck this, man." And he goes home, and he like orders some acid, no MCAT. Off like a guy who can like deliver drugs via drone. But turns up at his house, man, he just gets full of MCAT and he's fucking smoking joints now. He's just taking everything he can, just pure mental. And then he starts kind of hallucinating, tripping, and he's like, "I'm going to get these cunts, man. I'm going to fucking go to that sorting office and I'm going to get my job back. I'm going to fucking kill them."
Mate, there's a bit in that one at the end. It's like I was saying, like, because we're going to ask about like favourite authors and that. See the bit that when he goes into the sorting office, it's like you cannot describe because it's like the acid's kicking in and that. And he's like in the scud, except for he's holding a crowbar, and he's like, "I've got work today" and all that, right? And then he's like, and the guy's head in front of him blows up like a balloon, and it's heavy like that. The guy who wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Aye,
Did you get shit for that? Or?
Aye, mate, I love Hunter S. Thompson, man. So
aye,
like,
yeah, it's
like
so
that,
similar to that. It's like you can pure feel the same vibe off it.
Do you know, like just the way you've wrote it, like you pure conveyed the panic and like the desperation of the guy, and like, there's a bit and he's like, just let me deliver something. He's like, when his DNA, he only knows it, and that's the only thing that can make him content. Like he's like, don't even, doesn't he need be like letters and that, just give it 8 now, just go and drop 8 after something. It's like the only thing that can keep him sane.
That's the one that like I could picture, like, so I was picturing like, see the Gart Craig sorting office, like near Ridley, and that. I was pure picturing that, and it was like it went in and his eyes started darting about the room, and I was just picturing him like that. But I've got work to do, I need to deliver something, mate. And it was like, it pure describes it perfectly.
Mate, the bit that I was busting out laughing at is when he's like he searches what's an MCAT. He's like, drone, that fucking cunt sold me crushed up drones. I've been taking drones. I was just like,
he's like, the drones are coming. I've snorted their babies.
Aye. Do you maybe have even a favourite story out of the 2 books that you've wrote? Like one that you wrote and you're like, it's fucking good. I know it's good.
One I was probably most buzzing me. It was in the second book. I think it's called like Under Surveillance. It's about a wee guy in kind of Ayrshire, and there's like the FBI are watching him through his phone, and he doesn't know. So it switches between like the wee guy in his room, and then like the FBI agents in like California like watching him and stuff. I was pure buzzing
But
how
they've
that
got like
turned out.
similarities in their life. Like she's like saying, oh, I was like this and all at one point. I need to help
aye,
this guy because he's just like sending dick pics to birds and that, and just saying like, and then she's like hacking into his stuff and like changing the message to like, hey beautiful instead of hey big tits and all that, trying to make his life better. But then what's the conclusion of that? She ends up,
It's like she feels like she's kind of interfering. Like it's like a nature documentary, like David Attenborough doesn't jump in and save a gazelle for getting hit by a lion. She's like, this week cunt just wants to do it. Like,
so she just fucks his life up again.
Just let nature take its course, sort of thing.
My favourite one's defo the because I was listening to Here We Fucking Go like last week as well, and it was why you read it and all was pure perfect. There's one, it's called Ghosts, right? And it's like, it starts off with that the Prime Minister's done an announcement saying, right, ghosts are real, right? They've always been real, but they're coming forward now. They want like to be in society and stuff. So from Monday or whatever, you need to have a ghost roommate, and you need to, everybody needs to do it. It's a law, right? And then this wee guy, it's no Sammy, is it?
no, it's no Sammy.
This wee guy like buys a house and buys a flat, and then it was early weekend, and then on Monday comes Chappie's door and they're like, all right mate, here's your ghost. And he's like, what? He's like, what? Ghosts are real? Like, he hadn't seen any of this stuff. He's like, aye. And he's like, right, what have I got in that? And it's like, oh, you've through the short straw, you've got a poltergeist. And then they let it out the canister and it goes and goes in, and then he walks out that he could, with TV static or radio static, he can talk to it, and he goes, what's your name? And it goes, Senga. He's got a mad scheme moth ghost, and she just bams him up, slaps him about and all that. And then there's another like a sleep paralysis demon.
That's
he gets
right, aye.
another one, and it's like called Saint Mungo. No, it's called Mungo, sorry. And he's just like a wee sound cunt. He's just like, what's happening, mate? That, and he's like a wee demon guy that sits in your chest at night. You know what I mean? That's the best. That's like the best story ever.
Aye. It's like that's like, because I feel like I know you, so you would like the ones that are just so far gone that are just like, what, I don't even, because there's ones like, obviously for even like you and then me making the videos and that, like you don't need to have a fucking creative mind to put even a podcast and shit together and these videos. So when I'm hearing these stories and reading the stories, and even I'm like, fuck me, man. He's actually he's really went for it here. Like, it really impresses me. So I'm like, I know how far my mind can go. So he's like, I know how far he's had to dig for this.
Look at my boy.
I'm a proud mom. Yeah.
Aye, that one's amazing. That's the ones I do like, the pure far gone, like insane
that's
ones.
like my favourite thing to do is to like just take up your mental concepts like that with like the ghosts, but like try and ground it as much as you can in
Like, 'cause
reality.
it's a flat Easter house.
Aye, so it feels pure normal, but then it makes the weird shit seem even weirder.
Aye.
And then when you start to dial it up, it just feels even more mental.
Aye, that's right.
That's true, because it's like a guy holding a ghost, but he's still going, oh, here, you've got, like, he's still a mad Scottish delivery guy. You know what I mean?
Aye. So
But-
you're keeping you're keeping it real enough to where people can still picture it happening.
Aye.
But the fact that you're keeping it real enough, when you're throwing in the mad shit, it makes it pure. I feel like it makes it pure vivid, and you're like, oh, I can actually imagine this happening.
Aye,
See
aye.
the story about in Hings. About the woman killing her husband, the Bulls. Aye, like that one, like mate, like
Dolly.
Aye, Dolly, wee Dolly. Like just the way things are happening in that, I was like, I feel like I'm watching this in my head. That's what I was wanting to ask you as well. There's one more question I wanted to ask you about writing, because obviously a lot of the stories are mental, mate, right? And there's things you're talking about everything in them, right? But has there ever been one you've come up with and you're like, I can't fucking actually put that in that? Or like, has one ever went so mental that you're like, I can't fucking publish that, man?
No, not really, mate. Because like, see, we writing like books and that, like it's different for like films and telly and stuff. Because if I can picture it in my head, as long as I can describe it, I can make it and happen. There's no budget restraints certain. Do you know what I mean? I can just go for it. Do you know what I mean? Set up well, or make it and happen. Because
blockbuster.
Aye, man, you just don't need to worry about like special effects certain. Just as long as you can write it in a way that people can imagine it. But like, same with books and that, like you can just kind of go wild. Do you know what I mean? There's no really anything that's off limits. So like, I probably could take some things further. But like, you don't want to go too.
Because I think if you go, I mean, I think you've got a great balance of like, it goes far enough that you're like, oh, fuck me. But like, see if you just started making it far too mental, it would like take away for the story, wouldn't it? It would just too many lights and fucking, you know what I mean? It's just distract you. So
100%, man.
I had one last like kind of writing question and all. So like, see where like short stories and that, like obviously Stephen King, like did he start doing short stories or did he? And then like there's like a lot of writers that do that. Do you think it's like, I would in my head never wrote it in my life, friend. I would think it would be hard to write a short story because harder than a novel because like you need to get like the arc up and down in a short space of time. Instead of like a novel, you can just like pad. You can just be like, oh, that's it. And you can like slowly like reveal shit about people and that. Aye. So it's like, and you've got pages and pages to do that. But with a short story, it's like you need to like, and another thing, like you could, if you had a novel, you can make it like gripping because it's like, oh, I want to know what happens next. But see, with like a book of short stories, it's like you've got that like, do you know what I mean? The reader's like, oh, aye, that was a good story, but then you need to be really good to want them to keep reading. Do you know what I mean? Because I've already got that kind of feedback. I like read a story, if you get me. So,
aye, man. I think when you're starting, I think you should always kind of start writing short stories. I think it's a good way to just understand story structure, beginning, middle, and end. But like, the book I'm writing the new, man. Like I've been writing it for 4 years because it's a novel. Do you know what I mean? I just can't get it right, man. So I'm that used to short stories. Do you know what I mean? So it's weird, like that, and there is loads of like debut writers, and the first thing they write is a novel, and it's like your best-selling,
like
amazing novel, man. I don't know how they do it.
So it is a lot harder than
I find it a lot harder, man.
Do you think certain people are like would find what you did pure difficult, but find novels much easier?
I think so, man. Like I've kind of like went to like proper novelists for advice when I'm writing this novel, and they're like, "Well, I can't write short stories, you know." Like it's mad. It's maybe just the way your brain's wired up. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's just like my attention span's just suited to like wee short stories. Like,
do you know what?
Aye, man. Aye.
Do you know what? I think as well, like the way you've done these, cause they are short stories, and it's like it's just the way society's gone in terms of people's attention spans. Like TikTok 3-second videos and fucking 20-second thing. I think that maybe that's why this book's had such a good response for like a younger audience as well, because people don't feel tight but bogged out. Like even people struggle to watch movies and shit now just because of the attention span. So if you're getting a story that's done in 5 minutes and then it's on to a next story, it's like your brain's constantly getting like refreshed and like it keeps it fresh.
Dopamine hits every.
That's what I felt like anyway. My attention span's fucked, so it was good. It was good for me.
The TikTok of books.
The TikTok of books. That could you get that quote put on that?
Get it stuck on
Reilly's gaff that says it's the TikTok of books. That's a big TikTok's huge.
Yeah, it's huge, brother.
But I was going to ask as well, because just for my brain, the way my brain works, right? See when I'm listening to these stories and that, it's like I can see it happening. I'm like picturing this as a sketch in my head as it's happening. I'm like, then he would walk in and it would cut to him. That's just the way my brain must just put things together. So is there any stories you've been like, I want to make that into a sketch, or are you happy with it just being in writing and just people can make their own wee sketch and they read it? You know what I mean?
Definitely, man. When I'm writing it, like most of my influences, they don't really come from other books and other writers, man. It comes from like films and telly programs. Do you know what I mean? And I try and write it how it would look on the screen. Do you know what I mean? But like, I don't know, like we made 3 of the stories for the BBC in like 2019, but like I didn't really have a lot of creative control. It was like the BBC were like, we want you to do these stories, and I was like, but the other 3, they kind of
What ones
shitty
was it that
stories.
did?
It was the shift swap one, but the wee guy like kids on he's like got a party, so he doesn't need to cover
Oh,
a shift.
yeah,
shaves off his eyebrow and all.
Ends up the lassie's pal and all that.
Aye. And then like Sammy's bag of Wilkes, like the first story in that.
Aye.
Like, boy eats the Wilkes and that, and then the night bus one. Like I was happy with him and that, but like I just wanted to do something
Pick your
better.
own ones,
Do you know what I
aye.
mean? Like I felt like I knew I could do better than that. Do you know what I mean? So it just wasn't fucking.
So have you got any like stories or characters or ideas that you could put in script form in actual sketch it?
Therefore, mate, I've like wrote a couple of plays. It was good doing that. I had one that was meant to be on, like I wrote it in like 2020 for the Glasgow Comedy Festival. It was fucking already go. I had all the actors and all that, I had the set and all that, and then COVID happened, it was cancelled, and then people started dropping out and stuff. And then I kind of was trying to change the script, and then it's just kind of dead in the water now. Do you know what I mean? It's just
shite,
shite
innit?
how that kind of thing happens. But I've got loads of ideas, man. I just want to focus on this novel I'm writing now. It's like kind of like it's like a family drama, and it's got like incels and that in it. But like, and then after that, maybe try and get a wee bit weird again and try and I just want to get out and like make shit. Do you know what I mean? And like have as much control as I can have. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing getting stuff on the BBC and that. But like, because it was the first time I'd ever done any work like that, they were asking me to do things and they were suggesting things, and I was like, I need to say aye, because what if they just tell me to fuck off? Do you know what I mean?
It is weird finding that balance, isn't it? It's like, and especially if it's like, you see these stories and that, like, the fucking, you've got an attachment to them now, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's either yours, and like, you don't want people coming in and going, the ones you think are the best, like, nah, I know that one, we want that one, but, and you're like, it's just what that's one. It's like, say, it's for me, it's like, say I've got like a video I put out that I'm like, it's alright, but it wasn't that good, and then like people at the BBC are like, we want you to make this into a fucking show thing, and like I'm like, but I don't really want to.
What would you do if they come in there like, what if we made the Italian American guy Spanish?
What if you fuck off? But so that's something you want to keep doing. You want to start.
Definitely,
you want to get not away from writing books, but keep kind of being creative in other ways. And
Aye, man. Like my ultimate goal, man, like seeing like 10, 15 years is to be like making films, man. That's my dream, mate.
aye, really. So that's the progression you want to
Aye,
take.
man.
That'd be class. I think you could
That's the
easily
dream,
do
like
that.
get this novel done, and then like hopefully like a few years down the line, man, like adapt it into a film,
Aye.
man, and just try and direct it.
I was gonna-
I'll just be in it like Eddie Murphy, like play all the characters.
Aye, every character. I was going to ask.
We'll star in it if you want.
Aye, just do that. Aye.
Just us four. Fucking date it now if you want. Cameras now.
Cameras here.
Fucking just date it now. That turned out alright probably. I was going to ask when the novel's out, but that might be touchy actually.
Still finished yet.
How far? The thing is, but like you said that you wrote, like, was it things you wrote? No, it was Here We Fucking Go. You wrote and were like, nah, like just had to write it all again.
It's kind of happened with us as well. So the
fuck.
version I wrote, mate.
I'm getting stressed and writing it, man. I'm like, fuck this, man.
I'm never writing again.
Like the version of this novel that I'm writing now is like fucking 10th version, because I keep changing the story and stuff. Or I keep thinking of things that make it better. So I'll get like 3/4 of the way through and I'm like, oh fuck, it'd be better if like the wee guy did that, and then you kind of need to go back to the start to make it all make sense. So you need to start again.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
because it's not even like a short story book where you can be like, that one's good, but that one's shite, so I'll rewrite that one. It's like, I need to rewrite this whole story.
man.
So is it like Scottish based? Is it written in
Aye,
Scots?
man,
No?
so it's set in Springboig. It's just about a wee guy. He's 19. His name's Jamie.
Yes.
He's 19. He left school when he was 16, and like in that time, he's no done anything. Like he's just no left his room. I reckon he just sits in his room, plays the Xbox, living in pure filth. Do you know what I mean? Just
some
leave
boy.
it, mate. Get on. And he stays with his ma, like a single ma, and like she doesn't see him because he's like nocturnal. She's at work, and then he's sleeping during the day, and then he's up at night when she goes to bed, kind of thing. But she's pure demented with him. She's like, he needs to get a job, and he's got college or something. What am I going to do with him, man? He's just fucking wasting away in that room. And then they're fighting because she's like, you need to get a job, and he's like, fuck off, I don't want to get a job. But while he's in his room, he's like on these like online kind of Reddit forums, and he's got a wee pal, and his wee pal's like, here, like, have you ever had a bird? And he's like, no. He's like, never, man. I think we might be incels. And then they get into like kind of incel kind of forums and that, and then they start just getting pure brainwashed. So he starts pure hating his mom because of this, and then like
Grows a neck beard and that.
and then these guys on this forum are like try to come down to London. I've got like a like a flat down here, and it's just boys like yous, man. And we can just stay in it. My mum and dad pay for it. You can just play the Xbox all the time, man. Got all the fags, all the booze that you want, weed, anything you want, man. Just stay in the house. And they're like, fuck, I will do that, man. So having his wee pal run away to London, but like his ma doesn't notice because she doesn't see him. So it takes her like 3 days to like report him missing. So when she like reports him missing to the police and that, they're like, well, how long has he been missing? She's like, fucking don't know. Like, I think it was, could be a day, it could be 2 days, could be 3. Do you know what I mean? So like, she becomes sort of a public enemy number one. Like, there's this wee guy missing, and like his ma's the main suspect, and it's the way that like kind of working class parents are like demonised like that. Do you know
Like
what I mean?
the way, I mean, well, it did turn out it was Dame, but that man,
Aye,
Sharon Matthews? I remember that thing.
Aye.
But like straight away, like when nobody knew what the story was with Shannon Matthews and her family, like, everybody was like,
Because the way she looked in
because
that.
of the way they looked, they're like, oh, she's an idiot. Like, no one of the wee lassie went missing, kind of like, kind of look after themselves. And I mean, the wee lassie, compare that to like Madeleine McCann's parents, like.
Well, could not have been them. They
Do you know
could
what I
not have
mean?
done a thing wrong. Aye.
So it's kind of looking at stuff like that.
That kind of social.
That's interesting.
comment.
man.
Social stuff with that, and then obviously the kind of incel stuff and like being a wee guy and just kind of your mind getting poisoned by these things. And then everything I've told you that happens in like the kind of first wee bit, so no
Aye.
spoilers or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Aye,
So-
How does it end?
How far through it do you think you are, honestly?
I'm like, this version, I'm like right at the end, man. So I've just got the ending
Oh,
to write.
right.
So it's
That's
nearly
good.
done.
So
I think
could
I'm
be-
feeling good about this one.
And if you go,
Aye.
like, do you, did you like? That's another thing I was want to ask. Like, see when you're going to write a novel, do you have like a plan for the full thing? Like, do you have everything, or does it kind of? Obviously, you're saying you change wee bits and that. So
Aye.
does it evolve that much that ends up a different story? Do you know what I mean?
Aye, man. It depends on what kind of writer you are. Some writers who sit down and they can plan everything out chapter by chapter, start to finish. Here's what's going to happen, and they stick to that plan. Whereas like me, I just like, you know, come up with characters, come up with a setting, a mad thing that's going to happen, and just see what happens. Just write it and just let the story kind of come out and see what happens. But like because of that, it kind of takes me a bit longer because you kind of write yourself into like corners. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you've maybe not quite figured out the plot, and then all of a sudden you're at a dead end, and you're like, oh fuck, better start again, make something different happen, kind of thing. So like if I planned the novel, probably I would be finished it by now. But I
Aye.
think because I'm doing it this way, it's better. Do you know what I mean? It feels more natural.
Taking a more natural
Aye,
like
think so,
progression.
man,
Aye.
aye.
Suppose
so.
because like I mean, if you're working, if you say this is the start, this is what happens, and then this is the end, it's like.
It's very
Because I find
mechanical, innit?
just for me making like a lot of my videos have been like I've planned a bit and then I've got to a bit and I'm like, well, nah, what if he done this bit? And it's like if you just stick to like the ending that you always planned, you're going to miss out on some good stuff.
Aye, and it's the same like with your videos. If you like know every word that you're going to say, you'd like you know deliver it the same and stuff
Aye,
as
like,
well.
I don't-
Is
I
that the
don't-
same with writing a wee bit? Aye.
Definitely, man.
Like I don't script, and as you say, it feels more natural. It's like because. See if I'm like making a video and I'm like I say something and I'm kidding on to say it to somebody and then they say something back, I'm like I can feel like, well, how would they react to that rather than like knowing the full thing already. See if you can react to it like kind of sentence by sentence almost. Just it does feel more natural. It takes a more natural
It's
progression.
more fun as well. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Like kind of surprising yourself when you're doing it. And do you know what I
Aye,
mean?
and just being like,
It's good
oh,
fun,
no
aye.
way. Because
Aye.
see that feeling of like, you know what I'm talking about, but like, see that feeling, you're like writing it and you're like, this is good. And then you're like, a mad idea hits. You're like, oh, aye, like, this is going to take it up a wee level here, man.
Aye. Therefore, I don't know.
I know, man. Terrible. innit?
I do that on the podcast. I think that was a good question.
There's another thing I was trying to talk to you about. We don't have Joseph's laptop to watch it live, but we can. No, it's all right. We can just put it because you know what I'm talking about, mate. I seen an excellent video of you, mate. You were on like in a wee like panel thing, and then somebody asked you to get up to read something. So talk us through this. Well, is this and like what?
Oh, it's a BBC do this thing every year. So you get like Book Week Scotland. It's like all about getting Wayne's into reading and all that. So they set up this thing at the BBC, and they got me and like two other authors to like talk about our work and all that, and try and encourage Wayne's to like read more and like try writing and that. And it was like Smithycroft, like students, like third years, man, just pure like I've taught in there a few times and they can be really engaged, but like when you take a class of third years out for the day and put them in a setting, they just don't really, they're no wanting to be there kind of thing. They're just kind of, so like I get asked, you will ask questions kind of thing, and then the host Janice was like, when I ask you a question, then I'll say like, oh, can you come up and read what you're going to read kind of thing. I was like, aye, no bother. And then I was sitting there and then she was talking. I was like, that's my turn to go. But then she kept talking and I was like, oh fuck, I'll sit back down. And then she was like, and she stopped talking and I went to stand back up, and then started talking again. I was like, oh, my God, fuck, man. And then I stood up and I like, walked to the mic and Nathan was clapping. Oh, it was like a pure anxiety dream, man. It was horrible.
It was like, you were like touching your knees and that. Like,
I know, I was like, I was just kidding, I was fixing my trousers. Like,
Honestly, when I seen that, I was like that way. I felt bad, but it was just such a funny. It was like, because it's so funny because everybody's done something like that, but it's not been on a camera. And, you know what I mean? Like that way, because you got up, but you got up too far that you couldn't really go back down. But then I could see your brain going, "Nah, I should get up." And like by that time, you're in this internal conversation. You've been like midway up for about 5 seconds, and it's so good. But we'll put the video so people can watch it. But absolutely fantastic.
Well, Bucks, I think I seen that on your Twitter. I think you retweeted that or something.
You have to be the person that puts it out.
I want somebody else to see that first.
Imagine you up, you're raging. Imagine like we've seen this video of you at this and you're just like
reporting it.
And then you go to sit back down.
Oh man. So for the future, man, so you'll want to finish with this novel and then back to the weird shit.
Aye, man. Finish this novel and then I'll try and do maybe a couple of plays. Try and pitch some stuff to telly and then build towards making a film in a few years, man.
Nice one, mate.
That's the plan,
What kind of film you got in your mind? A comedy?
Action,
Comedy, romance, rom-com, porno?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Something fucking weird, mate. I've not got an idea for a film yet. I just know I want it to be weird.
Would it be like I kind of sometimes picture some of your stuff as like animated, like
really?
I don't know, like
Right.
wee animations, because you could do like, do you know how the one that's like the guy gets a job in a pig factory or something? And it's like he's just sitting like stirring like mad pig guts for pure ages, and I was like, you couldn't really do that in a sketch.
Aye.
But like if that was a wee animation, it looked like a like Rick and Morty thing or something. Man, that'd be so funny. Do you know what I mean?
That'd be, mate.
See the ones now, because I told you when I was listening to them, I'm like, I can just see these as sketches. And then there was one I got, and I was like, that would be the most difficult sketch ever. See, everybody wakes up and their knees are running around. Mate, I was like, you just couldn't. How could you do that in a sketch?
Mate, I've got to think, like, I felt, like, see, in Here We Fucking Go, there's a story that refers to that. Like, because that's in things, isn't it?
That's right, mate.
And then there's a story that's like a guy works in like a universe factory, and it's like parallel universes, he makes them up. And he's thinking, and he's like, should I do one that let everybody's knees go backwards? Nah. And I was like, oh, that happened before, I'm sure it. So are they related?
You're on the Chris McQueer Reddit. Like, guys, have you checked this out?
I'm one of the mad incels. The Chris McQueer universe has expanded.
Aye, man. Chris, I think that's it, man. That was superb.
Quality. Cheers for having us, boys.
Do you want to plug anything else?
I've not got anything else. I've got a documentary on BBC iPlayer, man. Let's talk about English if you want to watch that.
Aye. And that's a lovely. We brought it right back to the start there, didn't we? We started on that and we finished on that.
And that's writing.
And that is writing in a nutshell. This is scripted world by Chris McQueer. This podcast was written by Chris McQueer.
Performed by Reilly's Gaff and Chris McQueer.
Aye, but cheers, Chris. Thank you so much,
cheers,
mate.
boys. Thanks
Cheers,
always.
As always, comment who you want to see next. Help us out. Send Jamie money through PayPal,
please.
We're not accepting anything under 3 figures now. Somebody sent 80 quid yesterday.
I know, I was raging.
Fucking
with
tramps, man. Up the game here, guys.
I sent them back a ton.
And send it through friends and family. Don't do the gift. That takes money off it.
Aye.
But thank you.
I'm not getting taxed on your money.
I know, fuck's sake. It's a gift.
Think
It's a gift. But cheers, Chris. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.